Have you noticed something strange happening lately? You walk into a crowded room, and something inside you quietly pulls away. Conversations feel louder than they used to. Not just the sound, but the energy. And without fully understanding why, you find yourself wanting something else, a forest path. The sound of wind moving through trees. The quiet rhythm of water. You begin craving nature, more than people. And the feeling isn't dramatic. It's subtle, like a quiet voice inside you whispering, "Go somewhere real." If this shift has been happening to you, many people across spiritual traditions describe similar moments during periods of deep inner change. Times when awareness begins reorganizing itself, when the nervous system starts seeking environments that match a deeper internal rhythm. Some interpret this stage symbolically as part of an awakening process, a shift where perception becomes more sensitive, and authenticity becomes more important than stimulation. One of the first changes many people notice is crowded environments suddenly feeling overwhelming. Places that once felt normal now feel heavy, not because people are doing anything wrong, but because your awareness begins sensing emotional atmospheres more clearly. Psychologically, this can happen when the mind becomes more reflective and less distracted. Energetically, many interpret it as heightened sensitivity to emotional signals, like hearing a song you never noticed before, suddenly playing loudly in the background. Another experience is an almost magnetic pull toward natural spaces. You might feel calm the moment you step near trees. Your breathing slows. Your shoulders relax. The constant internal dialogue softens. Emotionally, nature provides a nervous system reset. Symbolically, many see this as the mind reconnecting with something older than modern identity, a rhythm that existed long before schedules and notifications. Then there are the moments of unexpected stillness. You sit beside water, or walk along a quiet trail, and something inside you becomes quiet too. Not empty, just spacious. Almost like the noise of your usual identity has stepped aside. Many people describe this as the observer awakening, the part of consciousness that watches rather than reacts. Another shift appears when conversations that once entertained you start feeling shallow. Not because you've become judgmental, but because your attention begins seeking depth. Surface interactions feel like static. Hust, spacios, presence, realness. Psychologically, this often reflects identity transformation. Energetically, some interpret it as consciousness becoming less interested in performance and more interested in truth. Then there is the experience of nature triggering unexpected emotions. You stand beneath a wide sky and suddenly feel something expand inside your chest. A quiet sense of belonging, or even tears, without sadness, or even tears, without sadness. Emotionally, this can happen when the nervous system finally feels safe enough to release tension. Symbolically, many interpret it as remembering our place within something larger than personal identity, not separate from the world, but woven into it. Another subtle sign is time beginning to feel different in natural spaces. Minutes stretch, thoughts slow down, moments feel fuller. Psychologically, this happens when attention leaves constant stimulation. Energetically, some say it reflects awareness, returning to the present moment. And presence is where awakening quietly lives. Eventually, a deeper realization begins to form. Your craving for nature isn't really about escaping people. It's about reconnecting with authenticity. Nature does not perform. Trees do not pretend. Water does not rush to impress anyone. Everything simply exists in its natural rhythm. And when consciousness begins awakening, it often becomes allergic to anything artificial. Old roles feel tight. Old environments feel loud, and awareness begins seeking spaces where it can breathe again. This is why many traditions describe awakening not as gaining something new, but remembering something ancient. The mind slowly releasing layers of noise, the identity loosening its grip, until something quieter begins guiding you, a deeper instinct. One that recognizes truth not through logic, but through resonance. And nature resonates with something very old inside the human nervous system, something that remembers who we were before we learned to pretend. So, if you've found yourself walking away from noise, seeking quiet forests, watching sunsets with a strange sense of familiarity. You may not be withdrawing from life. You may be moving closer to it, closer to the version of yourself that existed before the world told you who to be, because awakening rarely begins with fireworks. More often it begins with subtle cravings, a need for silence, a longing for authenticity, a quiet step back into the natural rhythm of existence. So if you've been feeling this pull lately, you're not strange, you're not antisocial, you're not broken. You may simply be remembering where your awareness feels most at home. And sometimes the soul chooses forests, because forests never ask you to be anyone other than yourself. If this message found you at the right moment, let me know in the comments if you've felt this pull toward nature too. And if you're exploring awakening, consciousness, and the deeper layers of perception, subscribe and continue this journey with us, because sometimes the first sign that your awareness is expanding is the quiet moment when the noise of the world fades and the earth finally feels like home again.